Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of 100 Yards Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host and producer, Logan Landers. Joining me to talk about the NFL draft prospect, Byron Murphy II, defensive tackle coming out of Texas, Mr. Football, Vincent Turner. How you doing this afternoon, Vincent?
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Logan Landers? The eyes of Texas is on us.
Yes, sir. And we are talking about a tremendous player you see here on the screen. But before we get into it, guys, if you enjoyed the episode, give us a like, follow, share, and subscribe on social media, Facebook and YouTube, the main two ones we go on. We can also check out our podcast, available each and every single week, thanks to the fine folks at the Believe Podcast Network. Vincent, let's get into this big guy. Byron Murphy II, 6'1", 308 pounds, defensive lineman, defensive tackle, coming out of Texas with the Longhorns. Hook 'em horns. Let's talk about this young man. So, Vincent, if you look at his numbers this past season, 29 total tackles on the year, 5 sacks, and is just an absolute monster coming in, once I said, 6'1", 308 pounds. Was named a 2023 second-team All-American by AP as well as Sporting News. 2023 Big 12 Defensive Lineman of the Year. First-team All-Big 12 selection. And also was just a tremendous player. All the reason why Texas was as good as they were. We know they had a great offense. They had a great defense. And it was led by this guy with how well he was and how good he played this past season, helping Texas be as solid of a team as we saw. Now, looking at this guy, as I mentioned, he won the Big 12 Defensive Lineman of the Year on that great defense he has. He's got some really good explosiveness. He's got really good energy, really good burst for a guy who's over 300 pounds. He's twitchy. When I say that, I mean that he has that explosiveness, that good first step to get to the ball carrier. He's got good leverage as well. He's not just a guy who's going to toss you around. He's going to be able to get in your pads and move you around. Obviously, we know he's got great strength. If you look at him on the screen there, he is an absolutely jacked human being. He doesn't miss any days in the weight room. He's got really good torque and power, obviously, with his tremendous just violence and how he's able to just move ball carriers, get offensive linemen out of his way. He's violent too, Vince. He's got a mean streak to him. He's going to chop guys. He's going to be able to get through the run blocks and just empower himself and just force him onto whoever's got the ball at the closest angle. He's going to get to them and take them down with a lot of power. He's also able to use some good bull rush moves, some rip moves as well. And he's a guy who, I mean, we talk about competitiveness, but this guy might be the most just insanely competitive guy you see here. He doesn't take any plays off. It don't matter if he's on the field, if he's off the field watching his guys play. He is just, if I had to give him one word, Vincent, it's intense. You see it in every single play, his speed, his power, and he is a big, big reason as to why Texas was so successful this past year. Vincent, what's your thoughts on the big man coming out of Texas? What you like about him?
Well, I like his size. He's a little guy, about 6', even 300 pounds, but the eyes of Texas. You think about all the great defensive tackles they've had at the position, from Casey Hampton to Steve McMichael, Marcus Tubbs, Kenneth Sims when I was at the University of Arkansas, Norman Watkins, Sean Rogers, Tim Crowder. Then he played beside a guy who's a highly rated NFL defensive tackle in this year's draft, Devontae Sweat. But this gentleman right here held his own. And I'm not saying this, but I don't want people here 100 yards of football to think I'm going crazy now, because I'm not trying to get no shock value today. But he's got a little bit of Aaron Donald in him. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah.
Played 3 years at Texas. He's going to be a true junior coming into the draft. He had 70 tackles in his career, 15 tackles for a loss, 8 sacks. That means he can rush the pass a little bit. But the one thing that sticks out to me, Logan, he was a 3-time All-Big 12 academic All-American. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
A 3-time All-Big 12 academic All-American, alone being an All-Big 12 conference 2 years in a row. He's a guy that's got that freakazoid ability, midnight star. He's got a 455-pound front squat. If people don't know what we're talking about front squat, that means lifting the weights up from the front. He plays with leverage. I love that about him. He gets a lot of penetration for his size. And to be honest, I think he's a better prospect than his partner that played on the D-line with him, Devontae Sweat. Then when you're looking at his overall ability, he's got a motor that you like at the D tackle position. Then, like I said, he wreaks havoc in the backfield. He's got great eyes. And most of all, he reminds me of a guy that played at Houston, T.J. Turner, back in the day, out of Lufkin, Texas. Can we give a shout out to Mark Bass, a.k.a. the best voice in all of entertainment and radio and doing the public announcement. Then he's got a little bit of Gary Big Hands Johnson that played at Grambling. There was an excellent football player with the San Diego Chargers, a.k.a. the L.A. Chargers now. And then it reminds me of this guy, and you know I'm from the state of Tennessee, a guy that played football at the University of Tennessee that came there as a linebacker, Jimmy Newton. Jimmy Newton was about 5'11", 225, and Tennessee bucked him up once Johnny Majors got there in the late 70s and made him out of nose tackle, and he played the nose tackle position at about 260, 275. Mr. Brian Murphy III has got a little bit of Jimmy Newton ability in him. A guy that's going to be low to the gravity, but also going to play with excellent pad level. And like I said, he's an excellent elite athlete, a very good football player. And he's going to represent the University of Texas at the next level at the D tackle position.
Yes, sir. Well said. Final thoughts on Mr. Byron Murphy, as you mentioned, might be a little bit on the shorter side, but from what he lacks in height, Vincent, he more so makes up for with his quick speed, with his power, and with his just tenacity on defense, how he's able to get to the ball carrier, get to the quarterback also. I like this young man. As you mentioned, he was a huge part of that great Texas team this past season, and I think this guy is going to do some big things in the National Football League wherever he lands out. Your final thoughts on Byron Murphy II?
Hey, man, when you look at all the great players at the University of Texas that came through the college football and has played in the National Football League, Byron Murphy III is going to represent real well. That's a very good football player. Like I said, I don't want nobody. Listen real shortly here. We at 100 Yards Football. We're not trying to have no shock value here. But he's got a little bit of Aaron Donald in him, man. Maybe I'm saying it because of his size, but just look at his play.
That's it.
Similar when Aaron Donald was at the University of Pittsburgh.
That's it. And as we always say, as we always do, just check out the game film. You see, we're not talking crazy here. We're not just throwing out hot takes. We do research. We do our research for these episodes, and we make the conclusions that we make. And guys, as always, we appreciate the continued support on the channel on Facebook and YouTube. We've been seeing some great growth here. As of late, we couldn't do without you, our fans. As always, go check out our podcast as well on all major podcast streaming platforms, thanks to the Believe Podcast Network. For Mr. Football, Vincent Turner, I've been your host, producer, Logan Landers. Enjoy your weekend, everyone. Go and watch the Super Bowl, and we'll talk to you again on